Sav here. In today's video, I'm going to show you guys how to make homemade breadsticks from scratch. I made these for my kids last week to go along with some fettuccine alfredo, and they went crazy over them. My son was eating them. He was like, "Mommy, you should make a video for this." And I was like, you know what, son? I think I am. This recipe was actually really easy for me to come up with because the basis of this recipe comes from my homemade dinner roll recipe. I did modify the recipe a bit so it's more true to a breadstick recipe, and the results were fantastic. Keep watching and I'll show you guys what you'll need to do next. I have here 1 cup of warm water. To that warm water, I'm going to add 2 teaspoons of active dry yeast. Just sprinkle that in. You want to give this all a nice little stir. Add in 2 tablespoons of white sugar. Stir once more, and then you want to set this mixture aside until your yeast has become slightly foamy or cloudy. Into a large mixing bowl, I'm adding in 2.5 cups of all-purpose flour. To the flour, I'm going to add in 1 tablespoon of vital wheat gluten. You can find this in the health food aisle in most grocery chains. You want to mix well. My yeast is activated and is alive. Now I know it's time to pour in my wet ingredients into my dry ingredients. If your yeast does not bloom or become cloudy, the yeast is dead. Toss it out. Here I added in 2 tablespoons of extra virgin olive oil. I'm going to grab some salt, but I'm not going to put that in just yet. You want to mix your wet ingredients along with your flour mixture for about a minute or 2 before you add in your salt. In goes 1 1/4 teaspoon of salt. Stir this all together once more just for about 30 seconds or so. Lightly flour your work surface and dump your dough right on top. You want to knead your dough for about 2 to 3 minutes. You shouldn't need to add too much more flour to get it to come together, so you just want to keep rotating the dough and bringing it towards you, rotating, then folding over, and just continue this process until it becomes a nice smooth ball. Your dough should remain slightly tacky, not completely wet, not too sticky, but tacky. So my dough is looking pretty good. I'm going to shape this into a nice round smooth little ball, and then I'm going to grab a mixing bowl. Into that mixing bowl you want to add in a little bit of olive oil. You can use vegetable oil, whatever you have. Place your dough into your well-oiled bowl and just toss the coat or just turn it over, and this is just so that the dough doesn't develop a skin while it's resting. Cover with a clean hand towel and allow it to double in size about an hour. Alright, it's been about an hour. It's going to look like this. It has definitely doubled in size. I'm going to go ahead and sprinkle my countertop with a little bit of all-purpose flour. Dump your dough onto your flour, and instead of punching my dough to deflate it, I'm going to just do the fold over method, 2 to 3, maybe 4 folds, and then I'm going to gently roll this out into a really long 24-inch or so log. You just want to start rolling back and forth in the middle and work your way out, pulling the outer edges away from each other. Try to make this as even as possible, although it's not always the case. Now I'm going to cut this log right down the middle in half. Then I'm going to cut this half in half. Well, you guys get what I'm doing here. So I'm going to do another half on this side. I should have about 4 equal parts, and with each piece I'm going to cut into thirds, so that'll give me 12 equal pieces. But you can cut it whatever way you like. It's not rocket science. Do whatever you please. I'm going to take my pieces and move it up just a little bit to give me some room. I'm going to roll out my breadsticks one at a time. Now the breadsticks or the dough that you're not using, you want to cover with a kitchen towel to keep them from drying out. You want to roll out your dough to be about 7 to 8 inches long. Start in the middle, back and forth motion, and then just stretch it out as you go out. Try not to use any additional flour at this point, but if you need to, just sprinkle a little bit at a time as needed. Place your shaped breadstick onto your baking sheet fitted with some parchment paper on top, and then repeat the process with the rest of your dough. Make sure your breadsticks are at least 1 inch apart from each other. Take a kitchen towel, place it on top, and allow these to rise in a warm, draft-free place for about an hour or until they're doubled in size. So it's actually only been about 45 minutes for me. It's pretty warm here today, and look at that. Just gorgeous. I recommend checking them after 30 minutes depending on where you live, how warm it is. It will affect how fast or even how slow your dough rises, and it could take longer than an hour. So what I am going to brush these with, it's actually coconut oil today, melted coconut oil, trying to save on some calories, you know what I'm saying? You can use melted butter too. It's really whatever you prefer. Last but not least, I'm going to hit each breadstick with a good amount of garlic powder. You want to bake these in a preheated 375-degree oven for about 15 minutes until the tops have turned slightly golden brown. And look at that, your homemade breadsticks are done. Your family will absolutely love these. I mean, look at that. Get out of here. Homemade breadsticks is the only way to go. Bon appetit! It's soft, it's chewy, and for me, that makes the perfect breadsticks. And you get a little bit of garlic flavor from that garlic powder. They will go perfect with any weekday or weeknight dinner. Thanks for watching, guys. Have a good one. Bye. And yes, I always have to close my eyes when I'm eating.